President Trump trying to calm things down after that horrible day on Wall Street. Stocks with the biggest one-day point drop in history. The Dow Jones plummeting a stunning 2,000 points. Rebecca Jarvis is outside the New York Stock Exchange with more. Good morning, Rebecca.
Good morning, Robin. And the Dow here at the New York Stock Exchange has just opened more than 800 points higher after the worst day for stocks in 12 years.
With the coronavirus already impacting our way of life, from work to school to travel, President Trump promising big stimulus measures to help Americans.
We're going to be meeting with House Republicans, Mitch McConnell, everybody, and discussing a possible payroll tax cut or relief. We're also going to be talking about hourly wage earners getting help so that they can be in a position where they're not going to ever miss a paycheck.
The president took no questions at the press conference that followed the worst day for stocks since the 2008 financial crisis. The Dow falling more than 2,000 points. Within minutes of opening Monday, stocks halted after plunging 7%, hitting so-called circuit breakers, a safety mechanism meant to keep the markets from going into free fall. Driving that volatility, the uncertainty surrounding the coronavirus.
Risks are very high that the U.S. economy is going to go into recession, that the virus is going to do a lot of damage to economic activity.
After hitting record highs last month, stocks have since erased gains for 2020, with the S&P 500 down 15% so far this year. A typical 401k, which started January around $112,000, could have lost nearly $17,000. U.S. small businesses were some of the first to sound the alarm. Many couldn't get their products from Chinese factories, shut down by the outbreak.
Worst case scenario is jobs have to be cut. I like to think that that's not going to be what happens to us. But again, I think as a small business owner, you stay up at night and worry about a lot of things.
Since the virus has spread, the warnings have climbed. Cruises and airlines, some of the hardest hit, with the airlines set to lose up to $113 billion in sales as travel and hotel bookings plunge.
Traders here on Wall Street tell me they are cautiously optimistic about the potential fiscal stimulus coming from the government, though there are still so many uncertainties as far as the virus itself is concerned, with a number of companies telling workers to stay home, many schools shut down, canceled programs. That will have an economic ripple effect. George?
Okay, Rebecca, thanks very much. Let's get more on those new stimulus measures now from our senior White House correspondent, Cecilia Vega. Cecilia, the president promised a press conference today. He mentioned a payroll tax cut. Any further along on what exactly he wants to propose?
Well, George, we are still trying to figure that one out. The president held this unscheduled appearance yesterday to talk about the new economic measures, but he left without taking any questions. So there's still a lot of details that need to be worked out on this. I think it is safe to say that the economic impacts of the coronavirus have President Trump this morning very agitated, very worried. Rebecca mentioned that payroll tax that he is looking for. He is also, let me tell you, hoping to work on what he's calling help for hourly wage workers. So he says they don't miss a paycheck. He wants to do small loans for small businesses, and he's talking about help in some form for the airline, the cruise, and the hotel industry. But the Democrats, they're really hoping that the White House will focus on what they're calling individuals, essentially real people, working American families. But not even all Republicans are on board with the payroll tax. It's been floated before. It's not gotten widespread support, but George, it remains to be seen how much they can get done here.
Meantime, Cecilia, the coronavirus itself is creeping closer to the president. We saw those members of Congress who've had contact with the president now self-quarantining, even his incoming chief of staff.
George, it's really remarkable how close the circle is to President Trump. You can see the graphic, but you mentioned it. Incoming chief of staff Mark Meadows, the congressman from North Carolina, he announced he's self-quarantining, that coming after possibly coming into contact with that infected individual who attended that conservative conference outside Washington about a week and a half ago. Another congressman self-quarantining, Matt Gaetz from Florida. He rode back on Air Force One with President Trump, and he rode in the limo just yesterday with him. President also shook hands with Doug Collins. Collins is now in quarantine, and the White House says, isn't being tested because he hasn't had prolonged contact with any individuals, but that he is being watched by the White House doctors. The big question right now, George, will these rallies still go on? Will they still happen? Sources close to the campaign are telling us this morning that we might get an announcement as soon as today on whether there will be a future one. George.
We will be watching. Cecilia Vega, thanks very much.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.